A man and a small child are lying on a street in Gaza City. In his final moments, the man reaches out to touch the child. This video was broadcast on Qatari network Al Arabi TV in late December 2023. The man and child had been shot by Israeli snipers, the report claimed, but there were no details of what exactly happened or who they were. For months, we tried to find out more about them, trolling social media and reaching out to contacts on the ground. A comment under a social media post named a street and a business in the video, which helped us to geolocate it, and we could verify independently that it was Hamid Street in Gaza City. We found a name for the man in the video, Mohammed al-Majdalawi, and traced his death certificate, as well as that of his daughter, 2-year-old Leanne.
Mama.
ولا أحبك
حبك
يا حبيبتي
حبك
عمتو زعلي عمتو.
Leanne's case is just one of over 160 reports we've compiled of children who were shot in this war in Gaza. The incidents we looked at ran from the beginning of the war all the way up to July this year. Israel bans foreign media from entering Gaza independently to report, and destruction and displacement also make gathering details difficult. We struggled to find Leanne's family, and it wasn't until a ceasefire earlier this year, when people could move more freely, that we managed to reach them.
Hello? Hello? كيفك يا شهد?
This is Leanne's sister Shahid. She was 12 years old, and with her mum, Soraya, her teenage brother Aboud, their father Mohammed, and Leanne that day. Shahid, Aboud, and Soraya told us what they saw when Mohammed and Leanne were killed. The family say they were sheltering in Gaza City when the area was bombed by the IDF, and they were ordered to evacuate. On the 9th of November 2023, at around midday, they told us they left this school and travelled down this street, turning left onto Hamid Street. There was no fighting at the time, they said.
بدنا ماشيين مع بعض فاحنا سبقنا أبويا في اللعب في العيان وبغني معها.
As they passed this junction, Shahid says she saw a tank up the street to her left.
شفنا الدبابة احنا صرنا نجري في الشارع احنا سبقنا بابا لو بابا ورانا يعني بطئ في المشي عشان حامل الليان وزي هيك نطلع احنا لقيناه مرمى على الأرض فكرناه وقع إشي.
Shahid says she and her brother ran back to help and realised their father had been shot. She tried to grab Leanne, who wouldn't let go of her father, before they were shot at again.
أنا مديت إيدي عليها بدي أمسكها لأنها دغري أجت رصاصة في إيدي مسكت وقت بدي أسحبها دغري أجتني رصاصة في إيدي دغري صار رصاص لو صار أبويا صار روحوا صوبوني.
They fled and never saw Mohammed or Leanne again. This image was taken before the war, but we've obtained and analysed a satellite image taken 2 hours before the shooting. We don't have permission to publish it, so we've recreated it in this animation. On the satellite, we can see an IDF presence 280 metres north of the family, and we can see a tank along the same street where Shahid says she saw one 2 hours later. Military analyst Stuart Ray examined the image and pointed out these tanks, armoured vehicles and military diggers, these defensive sandbanks, and the fact this location has the tallest buildings in the immediate area, which suggests this was an IDF fortified position. He said that as well as tanks, a position like this would have infantry. There are 3 clips in the video we've seen of Mohammed and Leanne. The first indicates where they likely fell. In the second, drag marks show that the bodies have been moved to behind this building. In the last clip, they've been placed beside each other once again. We showed these videos to 3 forensic pathologists with experience in war casualties. Each said it's evident that Mohammed and Leanne were killed by gunfire. Professor Derek Pounder is the former head of pathology at the University of Dundee.
Overall, it's most likely that a single gunshot has struck the infant, passed through the infant, into the man, causing him to collapse and killing both of them.
What is it that you can see in this video which isn't very clear that tells you that?
There's no evidence of any blast injury with flailing of the arms and legs. There's not obvious large injuries to the bodies. The video is of relatively poor quality, but we can see what are likely bloodstains to the man's left shoulder and chest area. High-velocity gunshot wounds from military rifles leave a small entrance hole and cause devastating internal injuries.
In some of the cases we looked at, like Leanne's, children were allegedly shot while fleeing battle zones, but many others were shot while playing outside their tents in humanitarian zones, and some in areas the IDF themselves had marked as evacuation corridors.
بلفيت حالي القناص قنص ميرا في القلب.
In a case we first came across on social media, 6-year-old Mira Tambura was shot in the back of the chest, according to her father, close to an Israeli checkpoint on the Salahuddin Road, an IDF-marked evacuation route, on the 18th of November 2023. Her father rushed her to Al-Auda Hospital, where the hospital director told us they pronounced her dead. Earlier that day, the Tamburas say they were screened at this IDF checkpoint after fleeing northern Gaza. They were just over a kilometre down the road when Mira was shot.
القناصة كانت واقفة لغاية شرقة وأنا متأكد إنها قناصة، إنها طلق واحد طلق واحد بس فقط لا غير، قنصة في القلب. يعني البنت تمردغت انطخت هان اتمردغت هان بالضبط، هان تمردغت، نزل الدم من مناخيرها ومن فمها.
In this satellite image from the day before, we can see the IDF position at the checkpoint. This video posted a few days earlier shows the containers and buildings we can see by satellite. Our BBC colleague Jihad El-Mashrawi was in Gaza until February 2024, and he passed through the checkpoint with his family 2 days before Mira.
كان في قناصة وجنود شفناهم قبل الحاجز تقريبا بكيلو، وبعد ما عدينا الحاجز بما يقارب الكيلو أو 2 كيلو. اللي أنا شفتهم بعد ما عديت الحاجز كانوا على الجهة الشرقية في مباني مدمرة، وفي بعض السواتر الرملية كانوا هم مختبئين وراها.
And on this satellite image, we can see several of those buildings on the east of the road, as well as these sand barriers, in the direction that Said pointed to, where he believes the shot came from. At the time Mira was shot, we found no reports of clashes with Hamas in the vicinity of the checkpoint, which reduces the likelihood that she was caught up in crossfire.
يعني الجيش قال لنا توجه على خط آمن، عملت لك خط آمن صلاح الدين. بعد ما أنت تخيل أجي على صلاح الدين وأقلط الحاجز تبعك تقتل بنت بريئة طفلة.
Since the beginning of the war, doctors have been raising concerns about children being shot in Gaza. We spoke to 30 doctors and nurses and reviewed hundreds of photos and videos, as well as scans, medical notes and journal entries that they shared. Some of these medics said they saw many more children with gunshot injuries. However, as we compiled cases, we only included those they had documented. Professor Nizam Mahmoud is a retired NHS consultant and transplant surgeon. He was in Gaza for a month in August 2024.
We saw a significant number of shootings either with bullets to the head or chest, including to children. So most of the gunshot wounds to the head were dealt with by the neurosurgeons. I saw some of the x-rays, so a bullet literally lodged in the brain of a 3-year-old child.
How many cases do you think you saw of children who were shot?
I lost count. During the time I was there, I would say probably 20 plus.
We also spoke to human rights researchers working on the ground and collated and verified media reports. Of the 168 cases we compiled, we found 95 instances of a child shot in the head or the chest. More than 2/3 of these children were under 12 years old. In 59 cases, we were able to obtain an account from witnesses of what happened, either directly or via doctors and human rights researchers. In 57 of those, it was alleged that the IDF shot the child, and in 2 that the children were allegedly shot by Palestinians, one by celebratory gunfire, the other in a gang conflict. For the remaining 36 cases, we have no account of what happened. Without access to Gaza to report, gathering details on each incident is extremely difficult.
Children have come into our field hospital with gunshot wounds. Across 20 months of fighting, children have been killed and injured in their homes, whether they're staying in tents or walking in the streets. And the world simply cannot accept this type of warfare, this kind of impact on children, if the world accepts it, whatever comes next will be even worse.
While we have no proof of intent, Mira and Leanne's cases raise serious questions about how the IDF operates in Gaza. This week, Israeli human rights group B'Tselem reported on the absence of any rules of engagement in Gaza for Israeli forces. This video was broadcast in April on Israeli TV. It's an IDF commander speaking to his troops, telling them to shoot at everyone they see.
כל מי שפוגשים זה אויב. מזהים דמות, מפעילים אש משמידים, מתקדמים הלאה. לא להתבלבל בהקשר הזה.
Kay was a reservist in Gaza in early 2024. I asked if he was surprised to hear that so many children had been shot in the head, allegedly by Israeli troops.
I'm not super surprised. I'm not shocked that there exist soldiers who would do that.
Do you think there's a lack of accountability?
I would definitely say there's a lack of accountability.
Kay didn't witness very young children being shot, but he described several incidents in which his unit killed unarmed people, including 2 boys he described as young teenagers.
There's a humanitarian road where Gazans can go from north to south, and the general rule was on this road, it's a safe zone and no shooting. Anyone you see off the humanitarian road, shoot. Shoot to kill. That's what we were told. Our commander qualified that. Of course, if it's a woman or a child, don't shoot. Try to detain them. Don't be stupid. As time went on, the stakes kept getting higher and higher. It was just very much nothing mattered. That's it. And then ultimately, when we lost some people in a firefight, it was just it. Destroy everything. Kill everyone you see.
3 experts in international law looked at our findings. They told us they raised serious questions over whether these shootings were a result of recklessness, negligence, or willful attack.
Under international law, professional soldiers have the obligation to check before they take that shot that what they're shooting at is a legal enemy combatant and not a civilian. So when so many children are getting shot, and especially in the head, that tells us that something is seriously wrong.
أنا مش شايفة يعني مش شايفة أنا يعني مستقبل اللي يعني.
Of the 168 cases we looked at, we know that at least 90 children died. But because of the damage to Gaza's medical system, it's hard for us to determine how many ultimately succumbed to their injuries. At least 50,000 children have been killed or injured in Gaza since the beginning of this war. The families we spoke to say they have no hope for justice for their children. Some weren't even able to bury their bodies. Leanne and Mohammed's remains lay on Hamid Street for days as Shahad, Aboud and Soraya fled from danger in the chaos of this brutal war. And until we contacted them over a year later, they had no idea that this video existed.